Welcome to Pass the Parcel, people. I am your host, Tyler Felix, and this week I'm looking to make you some extra dollars, people. Or pesos, or euros, or wherever the fuck you're from, that currency, baby. Gonna make you that fat stacks of currency. Anyways, I have 3 solid picks this week, people. I'm taking these picks, I'm putting it on the back of Elon Musk's fucking rocket ship, and I'm launching these bitches to fucking Mars, right? I am so confident in these fucking picks, in these picks. I'm already stumbling. I'm so confident that I'm stumbling and stuttering right out the fucking bat, right out the gate. This is terrible. Oh my god. Anyways, last week, people, 3-0. My picks were 3-0. Rebounded from that terrible first week. That first week went 1-2. I was so off, was ashamed of those dog shit picks, but I learned from them. I came back stronger, went 3-0 last week, looking to repeat that same exact thing this week. I have 3 specific bets. I'll just run through them really quick, and then I will explain each one. Then after that, I'll just kind of just bullshit and talk about the card and talk shit about PFL like I've been doing. But anyways, so these are in order from my least confident to most confident. Okay, so number 1, Trevin Giles versus Roman Dolidze. I have no idea how to fucking say that. Roman, we're just going to say that. Trevin Giles versus Roman, plus 112 over 2.5 rounds. Now, most of the time when it's 3-round fights, I don't really like 2.5 rounds, but I made an exception, and I will go through that in a little bit. Next, Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader, minus 112 over 1.5 rounds. Really like this pick because one guy is a finisher, one guy is not. So it's kind of who will get the better here. But my most confident pick here, my last and final but most confident pick here, it's Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson, minus 112 over 2.5 rounds. Hammer that shit down, people. I really like all 3 of these bets. Last week, well, I can't say that. At first, there was only one bet that I really, really liked, and I had to do some digging for those first 2 bets, right? So last week, it was very similar, where there was only one bet that I really liked, and outside of that, they were kind of dog shit, so I really had to go and hound and find these, and do research and all this crazy shit. Crazy shit. I was doing what I should be doing, but this card is the same way, where Holland versus Brunson over 2.5 rounds, I think, is a great bet. I think 2.5 rounds is really good because Derek Brunson tends to be a grinder. So if Derek Brunson can grind Kevin Holland and push it into the 3rd round, then that's the fucking bet, people. So as long as no guy gets finished before the 3rd, something that Kevin Holland said at the pre-fight press conference that kind of had me a little worried is that he was like, yo, I hate 5-round fights. I don't want to fight 25 minutes. Like, who wants to fight 25 minutes? So me hearing that makes me think, oh, this guy's trying to finish this fight. Like, he's not trying to be in here for fucking 25 minutes. Like, he is trying to go out there and fight the same exact style that he did in a 3-round fight, but in a 5-round fight. Now, most of the time, that is a double-edged sword. That if it works, it works. If it doesn't, then you're dead, and you have Derek Brunson that's gonna grind your fucking ass for the rest of the fight. So I see it going both ways, but the most plausible thing that I see happening here is a little bit of a stalemate. Derek Brunson going for the clinch, going for takedowns, kind of slowing down this fight, and hopefully kind of dragging it out for a bit. And yeah, so that's why I think that bet's good. Jesus Christ, stuttering everywhere, people. But anyways, I think that bet is the best one because of those reasons I just said. I mean, I already fucking explained this shit, people. Anyways, next one. I will break down the fight stylistically later on once I break down these bets. Like right now, I'm just trying to explain why I chose these bets and not necessarily the skill sets of each guy and like stuff like that. And my next bet, which is my second most confident behind Kevin Holland, was Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 112. I really like those odds because let me just pull this up right here. So between Montel Jackson and Jesse. So Montel Jackson, if you look at him, so in the UFC, he's had 5 fights. 4 of them have gone all 3 rounds. 4 of them. And the one that didn't was a quick submission against Brian Kelleher. So that right there just gave me a lot of confidence in this round going past 1.5 because Montel Jackson is the heavy favorite here. He's shown that, he's not really like an early finisher. I mean, he did early on, but I mean, besides Kelleher, he hasn't had a first round finish since his 4th pro fight, right? Then after that, if he does get finishes, it's later on. So it's either late in round 2 or mid round 3, so on and so forth. Or it goes all 3 rounds. So that right there made me very confident in this pick, where Jesse Strader, I think this is his first UFC fight. So I feel like that's probably why the line is so low, because everybody is probably thinking that this kid is going to get smoked. So, I mean, which granted, there's a chance. But just looking at the guys he fought, right? I mean, he hasn't fought bums. I mean, he hasn't been fighting great guys, but I mean, he's been fighting guys that are equivalent to his caliber. And he beat Mike Jackson, which, I mean, Mike Jackson isn't really, that great of a fighter, but he beat him, so, I mean, so, like, that's fucking something, right? Excuse me. Oh, this isn't the Michael Jackson I'm thinking of. Is there multiple Michael Jacksons in fucking MMA? Because I'm thinking of the one that fought CM Punk. And he was, like, trying to act like he was, like, Floyd fucking Mayweather. And it's like, hello, brother, you're fighting CM Punk, dude. The worst UFC fighter in history. I mean, come on, guy. Like, and, like, he was just conning him, like, as if, I don't know, like, as if that was some huge feat. It's like, you're a professional fighter. He's a professional wrestler. Like, you should win this fight, right? But anyway, so I guess that's a different Mike Jackson. So I guess that's Mike Jackson, and this is Michael Jackson. And none of them are, are the actual Michael Jackson. But, which, people, if your last name is Jackson, how about you don't name your kid Michael? I mean, geez, like, give the kid a little fucking breathing room. My goodness. Like, you have to grow up with the name Michael Jackson? My God, that sucks. But anyway, so I guess this guy didn't fight the Mike Jackson I was thinking of. So my theory hinges all on Montel Jackson's finishing ability, which he has it, right? He's shown it, but he's also shown that he can get into stalemates and fights can be drawn out, right? So my bet is that Montel isn't just going to steamroll this dude. But guess what, people? I said that about Nunes versus fucking Megan. And oh my God, did Megan get steamrolled? I was so wrong there. So it could be like the same thing here. But I'm pretty confident in that pick. So my third and final one, which I'm the least confident in, but I'm still pretty confident in, is Trevin Giles versus Roman. Okay, so like I need to get this right. I'm probably not gonna know how to say this until like Bruce Buffer says it, but Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze. Roman Dolidze. That's definitely wrong. But anyways, Roman. This dude. Okay, so this guy. Two of his... okay, right. So I should start this. His last fight went all 3 rounds. Right? His fight before that was finished in the first round. The fight before that was finished in the 3rd round. And then really before that, I don't count because he's fighting a bunch of tuna cans who are 2-5, 0-0, 0-0. It's like, yeah, those fights don't matter at all. So when he fights somebody decent, who Trevin Giles is pretty fucking good, right? That this dude just doesn't run over people. So because of that, that's why I picked this fight. And also Giles, right? Trevin Giles. Look at this. Okay, so he's finished 4 of his last 5 fights, right? But all of them were finished in the 3rd round. And a split decision like against James Krause. So, oh wait, no, he hasn't won 4. So he lost. He lost 2 of those. Shit. He lost 2 of those. But anyways, it still supports my theory because it was in the 3rd round. And this guy is not an early finisher by any stretch of the imagination. His earliest finish is in round 1 and 2 minutes, but that was his second pro fight. Like I won't count that. Yeah, no, I mean, really can really count from like his 6th fight on. Like his he's starting to fight like legit guys, and ever since then he hasn't had a 1st round finish since he started fighting guys who were actually decent and weren't 2-2 and 4-8 and 4-4. You know, these are the guys that he's fighting. So because of that, I really like this fight, which over 2.5 rounds on a 3-round fight. Most of the time, I don't do that. I don't really like doing that because you're giving yourself such a small room for error. Right? Where if it's over 1.5, then it only needs to go to round 2 and just halfway through. And a good amount of UFC fights do that. But 2.5 rounds, that fight needs to practically go 2 points for us to win here. But I'm confident that it will because Giles has not gotten a finish in the 1st round against any legit people. And he's gotten some finishes in the 2nd round. And he's gotten some finishes in the 3rd round. And he's gotten stops in the 3rd round. But his last 2 fights he has won. And his last fight he won in the 3rd round. And the fight before that was a decision. But that was also James Krause, who's a beast. And I don't know this dude. That's the thing, is that it's always tricky when you have a new guy that you don't really know, that you haven't seen like a lot of tape of. It's always tricky to judge how the fight will go. I have to look at their records and who they fought and stuff like that, and just highlights and stuff. But when you're a 7-0 guy, I mean, there's not a ton of tape on you. You know, there's not a lot to watch that would really make me, think one way or the other about Roman. Like I want to say Roman Grosjean, but that's obviously not him. But just every time like I hear that name, I think of fucking Grosjean, who is an F1 driver. Like you guys don't know, like you probably know him from almost dying fucking last year. His car bursted into flames, got wedged in the guardrails. He was trapped in flames for 30 seconds. And this guy only had burns on his hands. That's it. Like, he wasn't even extremely fucked up from it. Physically. I mean, I'm sure mentally, that's really hard. And hearing him talk about it, he was just like, yeah, there was one point where I tried to get out and I couldn't. And then I just kind of was just like, okay, so I'm going to die now. Like, I'm just like, this is like the end. And like, then he said he thought, about his kids. And then he said, no, like, I can't die. Like, I have to get my way out of this car. And like, then he found like a way, which if you look at how the car was, embedded into the guardrail, it's like, I don't know how he even got out of that. I mean, it was insane, man. And just watching that, man, literally tears in my eyes, dude. It was just, you hate to fucking see that. I mean, and especially since Grosjean, that was his last F1 race. This man almost died. And the worst part is that it was completely his fault. He caused the fucking crash. He almost killed himself in a fucking race. But anyways, just went on a tangent about, like an F1 driver. This is an MMA show, people. And I'm here to make you money. Fuck F1. Even though that is my second favorite sport, fuck it for now. Okay? Anyways, Roman, Trevin Giles, plus 112, over 2.5 rounds. Hammer it down, people. And once again, I'll just go through these really quick, and I'll do it once again at the very end. I just threw my notes across the room for some reason. I don't know why I did that. I am just a mess, people. I don't fucking know what I'm doing here. Anyways, quickly, we have Trevin Giles, Roman Dolidze, plus 112, over 2.5 rounds. Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader, minus 112, over 1.5 rounds. Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson, minus 112, over 2.5 rounds. Hammer all three of those down, people. There we go. Those are my locks of the week. There's your money. I just paid your fucking rent, and hopefully I paid your fucking rent. And we shall see. We shall see if I look like a genius, an idiot, or just mediocre. It's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those, people. So, anyways, since got the business out of the way, people, that's mainly what I want the show to be about, is MMA sports betting, because there's other shows that do it, but everyone is like, oh, like, I want to pick fighters and see. It's like, no. I am here to give you bets so you could win, people. I want you to win fucking money, right? I'm not here to pick who fucking wins. I'm not here to do any of that. I am here to pick the bets that win, not the people who fucking win, right? And that's what I'm trying to do here. So that's why that is the opening segment of every single podcast, and it's the first 20 minutes of every single podcast. Anyways, on to this card, people. It's a pretty good card. I mean, well, no. I mean, it's a good card as far as stylistically. There's a lot of good fights here, but there's not a ton of names. I mean, when Kevin Holland is your biggest name, I mean, which I love Kevin, but when that's your biggest name on the card, I mean, and he's like the main event, I mean, it's a pretty, excuse me, that is a pretty weak card. And the UFC is infamous for doing this. They stack pay-per-views with all of these awesome fights, and they'll have like main event fights. Like, the entire main card will be fights that should be like main event fights. And then they put them on the fucking pay-per-views because they're trying to stack them and they're trying to make as much money as possible. And these ESPN Plus cards doesn't fucking matter because they get paid the same either way. So they historically take all of their best fights, put it onto the pay-per-view because that's where they make the most, like, where their income is, like, not the most variable. Like, does that make sense? But it changes drastically, right? Where ESPN, it doesn't matter who you put on there. And I don't think there's anything in the contract saying if they hit certain views that they get more money. I think they have a flat rate, and that's why there's cards like this that they put nobody on, because it doesn't matter if they put Derek Brunson or if they put Connor. They're gonna pay. They'll get paid the same both ways. Where a pay-per-view, it does matter. It does matter a lot. Where if you don't have star power, people won't buy it. You make less money. So historically, they fucking do this shit. And then as fight fans, I don't know. It's like a love-hate thing, because then you have these stacked cards with 3 title fights, and every single card from the start of the prelims is just fucking amazing. But then you also have a couple weeks where, it's kind of eh. It's just, I've been watching fights for a while. For my whole waking life, right? And I feel like at this point, it's nice to just have a little something. To just have a little something. Like, where Derek Brunson versus Kevin Holland, that definitely does it. That's definitely something. And then you have Tai Tuivasa on the card, okay. And then you have Gregor, and it's like, okay. And then after that, it's like, the fuck? Like, this card, man, it's not deep. It's not a deep card. I have to say that there's a lot of people that I don't know here that either they're making their this is like their first fights, or or it's their second or third. Well, not fights, but like in the fucking UFC is what I'm trying to say here, people. Anyways, I should probably break down this card. Max Griffin is I think he opens up the main card, or he's the main event of the prelims. I forgot which one, but something like that. He had a lot of hype, back in the Dizzy when he beat Mike Perry's ass, where like Mike Perry was before all of the brain damage and the terrible choices. Mike Perry was one of the top guys in that weight class, and then Max Griffin beat his ass. But then he went on a big slump. He lost the next 4 out of 5 fights. Granted, every single one of them is a beast. He lost to Cowboy. He lost to Thiago Silva. He lost to Curtis fucking Millender, dude. Right? So they're legit guys, but I would like to see him, on the comeback track. I feel like because he beat Perry's ass, he got thrusted up a little too fast, and it kind of showed. Where it's not like he was getting his ass beat. From what I recall, he wasn't getting his ass beat in these fights, but he was losing them, right? So he did win his last fight against Hamid Brahamash. But that dude, I don't know if you guys know him. I doubt you fucking do. But yeah, so he beat that guy who is his UFC debut. Jesus Christ, this guy made his UFC debut against Max Griffin? This had to be like a short notice fight or something. That's weird. That's very weird. Cause like, what the fuck? This kid is 7-2, and then you give him Max Griffin in his first fight. Jeez. Which, granted, at that time, Max had lost 4 out of 5, but he was still a tough guy, still very good fighter. But anyway, this guy he's fighting, Keenan Song. I don't know him, but he's Chinese and has a Korean name. So I don't know if he was born in Korea. I mean, he looks Korean, and it says he's from China. So fighting out of China, born in China. What? So I don't know if he was Korean and moved to China and then grew up there and was born there and all that. But anyways, coming straight out of China. I don't know this cat. Oh my god. This dude has had 5 UFC fights. How the fuck do I not know this kid? He's won 4 out of his last 5. And the only one he lost to was Alex Morono, who is sneaky good. Sneaky good. Physically not the most imposing guy. I mean, but he is a grinder. He's a very tough dude. Like he finds a way to fucking win, right? So that is not a huge mark, right? I mean, that's not like the end of your career because you get grinded out, right? So anyways, I feel like I'm just rambling, but all right, back on track, people. Keenan Sung, I don't know who he is. I mean, well, like I fucking do now, people, but Keenan, is it even Keenan? I mean, the guy looks Korean. He's from China. I doubt it's Keenan. I doubt he has the name of like a black dude. That doesn't make sense. Maybe it is Keenan. Maybe it is Keenan, and like then I'm just racist. But that doesn't look right. Doesn't fit his name. Like his face. Like it doesn't fit his face. Kanan maybe. I don't know, people. It's a fucking mess. It's pouring. It's very loud. I hope you guys can't hear that, because I could hear it very well. It's just smacking off the side of my dog shit apartment in the middle of a shithole. That is where I live, people, in the middle of shit. But it is temporary. Alright? Anyways, fuck me. Let's go on to this card. So Tai Tuivasa was gonna fight you see if I can get this off the top of my head. No, I can't. Okay. He was going to fight Dontel Mays. Isn't Dontel Mays isn't that the same name of the defensive end from the Patriots? Like, who am I thinking? No, I'm thinking of Derek Wise. Dontel Mays and Derek Wise are not close names. I don't know why I got them confused. But anyways, Dontel Mays. He was supposed to fight him. Then Dontel pulled out. I forgot why, and I don't have it directly in front of me here. But he had to pull out. And then here steps in Harry Hunsucker, the #1 ranked fighter out of Kentucky. Right? Kentucky proud. Harry Hunsucker. And this boy is about to go in there and get shit done. I don't know who this dude is, old Harry Hunsucker. But definitely has some balls for fucking stepping up and trying to fight Tai Tuivasa, the fucking Kiwi, I'm not sure if he's Australian or a Kiwi, the Aussie, the Kiwi, fucking badass, man. Let's see here. Australia, the Aussie. The Aussie's gonna do a shoey after the fight, mate. Like, yeah. Yeah, mate. Gonna do a shoey, mate. Okay. Anyways, so I really don't see this guy doing much. I mean, his last fight was against a guy who was 4-3. Okay? oh my god, this guy has never won against a winning fighter. His wins were, oh my god, his first win was a guy that was 1-9. His next win was a 0-0. Next win was a 2-5 guy. Next win was a 1-0 guy. Oh, so I guess that's like a winning fighter. He beat a dude that was 1-0 in his 6th fight. So, and then Tony Parker. I doubt it's that Tony Parker. That would be funny though. 15-7. I mean, and then his next fight 9-14. And then the one guy he fought that was decent was 10-4, and he lost in the first round. So I see Ty probably just steamrolling this guy. But that is what makes this fight so interesting, is that everybody knows that this guy is just going to get fucking destroyed. So if he doesn't, it'll make a great fight. If this guy puts on like a decent fight, then it'll be a shocker, definitely, because I really don't see how this guy is going to beat Ty. I mean, Ty's a beast, man. Ty is a beast, where he went on that little run there where he lost a few, but if you look at who he fought, right, this guy was 9-0, right? Got a lot of hype. Everybody fucking loves him, right? So, got a big win, right? Andrei Arlovsky. So, like, he beat him, which was a huge win. And then they were just like, oh, yeah, so fight Junior Dos Santos. Hey, bud, I know it's your 10th pro fight, but how about you fight the former world champion? One of the greatest heavyweights to ever step in the octagon. Why don't you just fight him in your 10th pro, fight? Oh, and then after that, you lost, right? How about you fight Blagoy Ivanov, one of the best heavyweights outside of the UFC for years? I mean, and that dude's a straight up savage. He almost died by getting stabbed in his stomach, and then came back and then won the heavyweight championship and the fucking World Series of Fighting, or Bellator. Was it Bellator or World Series of Fighting? I forgot, but Blagoy is a beast. Sergey Spivak, he's also a beast. If I remember correctly, I think Sergey picked up a big win recently. Yes, he last month he just picked up a win against Jared Vandera. I recall watching this. I don't recall this dude. Oh, this is the guy that beat Harry Hunsaker. Oh, Harry Hunsaker. Oh my god, dude! I'm gonna stop this. I'm gonna stop this before it gets. Oh my god. I mean, it's fine. It's not like fucking people that actually listen to this point, but I'm just more doing this for the mic time people. At this point, I'm just doing it for the mic time. Because right now, people, I realize that I'm dog shit. I realize that I'm bad. Right? I mean, and I'm trying to just get a little better each week. And I think that I am. I hope that I am. I don't know if I am. We just have to find out. But anyways, a big part of me getting better is that I need to not make these podcasts long as fuck, because I could sit here and talk about this shit for 3 hours. But when nobody knows who the fuck you are, nobody's gonna watch an hour and a half video of me talking shit. So I realize that. I mean, really, the future is that I need to make clips and all that shit, but I am just trying to get better here, people. I'm just trying to get better, and then after that, I will start to expand more, start to make clips, start to maybe get video. But the thing is that I don't want to do that now because I'm not good now, right? And next year, I'll be way better than I am now. So that's probably when I'll start doing all of that shit. But anyways, people, I am just going to break down the main fight here. And then we shall call it a podcast, peeps. We got Kevin Holland versus Derek motherfucking Brunson. Now, Derek Brunson is a guy that has been in the UFC forever. I feel like I grew up with Derek Brunson. I mean, I have been watching this man fight for a good chunk of my life. How long has he been in the UFC for? Let's see. Going on nine years. So next year will be a decade. A decade. Wow. No, because I was actually watching him in Strikeforce now that I'm looking about it. Okay. Yeah, so, Jesus Christ, I've been watching Derek Brunson for a while, and he was one guy that always seemed like if he could turn it on, he has the skill set to beat guys. I mean, he was dominating Yoel. Like, he was piecing up Yoel. I mean, he took Yoel down like 3 times. Took Yoel down, the Olympic wrestler. And Derek Brunson took him down multiple times at will. But then in that 3rd round, he was getting tired, he got a little sloppy, and got cracked. I mean, it happens to the best of them. And it happens a lot to fucking Yoel. Because Yoel, that power is never not there. And he always knows that. So he'll let the fight go to the last second with the confidence that he could just get a knockout. Because he does. You know, there's been a lot of fights that he's done that. I mean, what comes to mind, even though this was a bullshit win and shouldn't have really counted, was Tim Kennedy. That whole thing. Wait. We just talk about this quickly. Let's take a trip back, people. To the year, I don't know, when the fuck was this? 2015 or some shit. I'm just guessing here, and let me look real quick. Yes, there we go. The year is 2014. The event is in front of a group of armed forces, right? Which I don't know why they don't do those shows now. They stopped doing those shows for the armed forces. But anyways, the setting, 2014. In front of armed forces, Tim Kennedy, a Marine sniper, right? Fighting in front of armed forces. I mean, there doesn't get more of a home field advantage than that. The only time I've heard a crowd go more crazy or crazier for a guy was Conor McGregor in Ireland when he fought, oh my god, why can't I think of his name? Diego Brandao. When he fought Diego Brandao, that still, to this day, was the craziest crowd I've ever heard in my life. I mean, like, you could feel that crowd through like your TV. I mean, it was insane. And I think there's only like 10,000 people there, but the entire card was just stacked with Irish fighters. They all did phenomenal. Every Irish fighter won, like, you know, with the ole, ole. Like, it was just phenomenal. Like, the energy was crazy. So that is the only fight that I could think of that tops this, right? Tim Kennedy was putting the goddamn Marines and Army and armed forces and all that shit on his fucking back to fight the motherfucker from Cuba, Yoel Romero. And Tim Kennedy, in the first round, fucked him. Oh, actually, no. This was at the end of the second round. Tim Criggity Racks Yoel, right? Drops his ass. Yoel is one punch from being knocked out here. Gets saved by the bell. Then his corner comes in and, you know, just like typical corner stuff, blah, blah, blah. But then the round ends and Yoel stays on his stool. And then there's a whole thing of like where Yoel was staying on his stool. It wasn't starting. Fucking Tim was like, hey, he's not getting up. Like, stop the fight. He's not getting up. This round should be starting. If he doesn't want to fight, I fucking won. Like, it was just like, what the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? And Tim was, he was up in arms. But then, anyways, it goes on. Yoel, in the midst of this chaos and confusion and all this nonsense, gets his wits back. Tim does the opposite because he's going through this whirlwind of where he thinks the fight's over, and then he didn't stop it, and then he's with the feelings of like, oh, that's bullshit, this should have been stopped, blah, 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 and then now he needs to start the round against Yoel Romero, and then Yoel comes out there like a bat out of hell, man, and he cracks Tim, and he drops him, and then he TKOs him, and that was such a dirty fight, and I didn't like that when in the slightest, but I bring that up because you can never sleep on Yoel. Right? He's knocked out guys now that I'm looking at it, he's knocked out Brunson in the third round, Honey Marks, third round, Kennedy, third round, Machida, third round, Chris Weidman, third round, Rockhold, third round. Like, holy shit. Wow, this guy only gets finishes late. I never realized that. Wow. But anyways, Brunson almost beat Yoel, and then he got cracked at the very end. Because everybody does. So many people have gotten cracked by Yoel in those third rounds, but Brunson almost won that. Came back, went on a nice streak, beat a bunch of guys, won his next 5 straight fights, and then he fought Robert Whittaker and then Anderson Silva. Then he lost those 2, right? Granted, I can see why. And then Dan Kelly, oh, poor Dan Kelly. Excuse me. Poor Dan Kelly. Poor fucking judo Dan Kelly got smoked by Brunson. And Machida did too. Machida got flatlined, right? And then he lost 2 straight. He got knocked out twice. And it was, one of them was to Jacare, who, was a great fighter. I mean, at this time, he was like number 2 in the weight class. I'm pretty sure. Not definitely top 5. I mean, he's always been a top 5 guy for years. And then his last loss was against Izzy. Which Izzy, I mean, literally everybody has lost to him besides Jan. Because Jan got that Polish power, baby. But, so, after that, though, he's came back and got 3 huge wins. Elias Theodoru, Ian Heinisch, and then his last fight, taking Edmund Shabazian and fucking knocking that hype train off the goddamn rails. Right? So Brunson is high off of those 3 straight wins, and he's looking to make a 4th win here against Kevin Holland. Who Kevin Holland is a beast, man. I mean, we knew that Kevin Holland had a lot of potential just from his first fight. Who was it? Who was his first fight in the UFC? Because I know he stepped up on short notice, and then, oh wow, he's been in the UFC for a lot longer than what I thought. Oh no, he hasn't. He's only been in the UFC for 3 years. He's just had a shit ton of fights. Oh my god, this dude has had like 12 fights in like 3 years. My god. Oh yeah, Thiago Santos. This motherfucker made his debut on short notice against Thiago Santos and pushed him to a decision. I mean, Kevin Holland looked better against fucking Thiago Santos than John Jones did. I mean, really. I mean, so ever since that, I knew that this kid had a lot of potential. A lot of potential. And I say kid, but I'm pretty sure me and him are like the same age or very close. So, but that's just fucking Massachusetts for you. You know, I just call people kid. I don't know why, but anyways, Kevin Holland. He's been on a 5-fight win streak here. And then that last one was the biggest of his career. Jacare. That was such a great win. That was so brutal, and like from his back too. Getting a knockout from your back, which one thing that the highlight doesn't do justice, right? When you watch it, they make it seem like Kevin Holland just cracked him with one shot, and then he kind of got up and hit him with like the uppercut and started, kind of swarming him. But there was a lot of ground and pound from the bottom before that was rocking Jacare. And you could see, like, as soon as he got on the ground, I think he hit him with like an elbow or some shit like that. And like you could see like Jacare like, whoa, like you could see him like, ooh shit, like he just got rocked, and he immediately went to grab his like wrist, and Derek Brunson. Kevin Holland does a lot of damage from his back, man. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy. So maybe that's something to keep an eye out for. I mean, because I see Brunson winning this fight by grinding out Holland. And based off of that Jacare fight, that's not going to be too easy. So anyways, he's been on a 5-fight win streak, has won the last 9 out of his 10 fights. Oh my god. I never realized what a streak Kevin Holland fucking went on, man. My goodness. Oh, no. Some of these are grappling bouts. So he's won 8 out of his last 9. But still, that is impressive. That is impressive as fuck. Still, right? So, I honestly don't know what's going to happen in this fight, man. Like, that's the thing, is that I could see so many things happening. That I could see Brunson just grinding him and getting that clinch and just kind of just really getting the better of the wrestling. But then I also see Kevin Holland, staying off of the cage and staying on the feet and piecing him up, or maybe doing some work from his back. And then I also see Derek Brunson, that he still has that knockout power. He still has that. Derek Brunson is one of the most athletic guys in this weight class. The way he could just hurl his body like across the fucking ring. It is crazy, and he's very fast and very strong. So Kevin Holland can definitely get fucking cracked here. But Derek Brunson's flaw has always been that he throws so much power. He fucking throws his fucking punches from Eastern Kentucky, dude. I mean, this fucking dude wings his shots, so a lot of people can see them from like a mile of fucking way. So pretty much I just said a bunch of nothing, and just I don't know what's gonna happen in this fight, but I do know that this fight is gonna be good, people. This card is gonna be good, and not only that, but my bets are gonna be good, and that is where I'm gonna wrap this up, people. I'm going to make you money here. Once again, even though there's not a single soul that is listening to this point, because my average listen time is literally like 2 minutes. It's very sad, but it's the reality, people. So nobody's listening to this point, but just in case, my 3 picks: Trevin Giles, Roman Dolidze, plus 112 over 2.5 rounds. Lock it in. Montel Jackson versus Jesse Strader, minus 112 Over 1.5 rounds, people. Lock that shit in. And last but not least, Kevin Holland versus Derek Brunson, minus 112, over 2.5 rounds. Those are my bets for this week, people. This has been Pass the Parsley. I'm your host, Tyler Felix. And if anybody has listened to this point, I love you with all my heart. Have a great week, and I will be back Monday talking if I either got these bets right or completely wrong. Like, I'm either going to look like a genius or... like, what was fucking Gunther Steiner said, hey, like, I don't know, like we fucking look, I don't know, like we fucking look like rock stars, but now we just look like fucking douchebags or something. Like, I forgot what he said. That, you know what, people. I should have just ended this like a fucking minute back. Anyways, that is the podcast. Thank you, people, and I will see you Monday. Deuces.